Welcome back to the show that puts the ass in asinine. It is Wrestling with Egos right here on YouTube and Anchor Podcasts. Thank you so much for making us a part of your wrestling week. And man, we got some stuff to talk about this week. We're finally getting down to part D of our GOAT discussion, one that I wanted to bring to the table a couple of weeks ago, but with the G1, that kind of took precedence. By the way, boys and girls, we're on a countdown. 14 days until your boy gets married. Woo! Yay! Someone in this world actually wants to put up with me. Awesome. My name is Patrick, and I am joined on this wonderful, lean, mean, wrestle-talking machine by my boys, Brian and RJ. Gentlemen, how goes?
Doing well. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm fantastic. I'm very happy.
You obviously sound a heck of a lot better than you did 24 hours ago. We won't go into details, but it involves a mythical figure named Ralph. We'll just leave it at that. And if you don't know the reference, I'm a pray for it. Hey, we love the engagement we've been having with you guys on social media and on our website and everything else. Please keep that coming. You can reach me, Patrick, at Rant Mode on Twitter. Brian on Twitter is bcrigo15. God, that was bad. And RJ is at RJEman with not one, not three, but two N's. Two shall be the number that counts. No more, no less. Yes, I just dropped a Monty Python reference on this show. RJ looks pleased, and Brian looks perplexed. Perplexed. That's the word of the day. Perplexed. Brian, definition.
Perplexed means to be overly confused by something to the point where you just can't figure it out. Perplexed. And I've seen Monty Python, so I get where you're going. It's not like I'm a, closeted individual who's never seen Monty Python before.
I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just saying the world of the Python is not really your bag.
No,
just like
not.
the world of Star Wars is not your bag.
No, it isn't. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Then again, you're not much of a Marvel movie guy either.
Nope.
And guess what? Endgame came out on Blu-ray Tuesday. I bought it. Guess how many times I've watched it already?
39.
Take the 3 off of that and just leave it as a single-digit number, and you're right.
Okay, well, it'll be 39 sooner or later.
Yeah, very much so. But in the last couple of days, I've watched it about 9 times. Just and for the record, there's that one line that Captain America says toward the end of the movie, Avengers, and then there's another word that goes along with it. I'm keeping it spoiler-free in case some poor schlub hasn't watched it. Yes, all 10 times I've watched it, including the one time in the movie theater, your boy geeked out. Still geeks out. It's still real to me, damn it. But speaking of it still being real to us, damn it, we got a lot of wrestling stuff to talk about. We have quite possibly one of the coolest things that we do in wrestling. It's called the King of the Ring tournament. I've always loved it. I'm pumped for it. And the first week of action definitely did not disappoint. So we'll talk about week one of the King of the Ring tournament. We'll talk about some news that came out in the world of WWE and NXT over the last couple of days. Some signings, also a major announcement concerning television for NXT, which, yeah, RJ is going to continue to roll his eyes at because he called it. He called it, and I'm giving the man his props. We got some homework.
This is 2 weeks in a row now, by the way.
What?
That he's called something that's come to fruition.
Yes, he's getting pretty good at this. At some point, we may have to kick his ass off this show.
This is becoming an epidemic.
About the King of the Ring.
Say what?
I said, and today we're going to talk about the King of the Ring.
So help me God, if you pick King of the Ring right, you know what? If you pick King of the Ring right, you are now officially hosting this show.
All right.
No. Oh, here we go. I will make the statement right here. If you pick King of the Ring correctly, because you said in our pre-show meeting right before we started recording that you were going to give us the last two guys. If you can give us the last two guys and the winner, the week at the King of the Ring wrap up, you are host and you get to rip me and Brian as much and as unmercifully as you choose.
Okay.
You get to give me. Go ahead, Brian.
Does that offer still stand for me? Because
Yes.
I got the
absolutely.
I got the proper paperwork right here. I got some,
Okay. If
Yeah.
obviously the caveat to this is as long as two people aren't in agreement, like with everything, that kind of cancels it out. But if all three of us have a different set of people here, if someone gets the championship match and the winner, the other two are on notice for the next week.
challenge accepted.
Yeah.
So let it be written.
So let it be done.
Real quick before we get into it, we plugged the good old fashioned Twitter machine. We got to plug everything else. You can chime in on this and any of the conversation we have, especially the GOAT conversation coming up later tonight at wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our Google repository, bit.ly/withegos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the bell. That way you get announcements anytime we post new content, because trust me, you want to be a part of any and all new content. Brian.
I want to give a special shout out to a couple folks that I ran into last week who are what I discovered to be fervent consumers of the Wrestling with Egos product. Tammy and Scott, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you throwing out the good word to all your friends.
Same Tammy and Scott, I know. Love
Yes.
you guys. Love you guys. Tammy and Scott, great people. We love them. Brian and I have known them for years, and they're good people. They're very good people. Tammy is a saint because she has put up with Brian and I for years. Tammy is a saint. She is a saint. Boys, let us get into the madness that it is, and let's talk some King of the Ring. We had 4 matches on a combination of Monday and Tuesday, and we'll just kind of go over what we've already missed, talk about those matches, and then talk about the bracket moving forward, which will be the bulk of the conversation, if you will. Samoa Joe went over Cesaro. Good match. Brian, you have been talking for years. Well, even though this is only believe it or not, guys, this is the 24th episode of Wrestling with Egos. Not 24th YouTube, but just 24th, 24th week of this show. Wow, time flies. But
Doesn't it though?
Huh?
Doesn't it though?
Yeah. But you've been talking for years about how you wish they would do more with Samoa Joe. RJ, I'm sure you've been doing the same thing, but you and I haven't been talking wrestling as consistently as Brian. I feel the same way about Cesaro. I love Cesaro. I love everything about him. I mean, he's not the greatest mic worker in the world, but then again, neither is Seth Rollins. But Cesaro is a 15,000 time better worker than Rollins. I love Cesaro. I hated the fact that these guys got put in a first round match, but it was good. Cedric Alexander took out Sami Zayn. I don't know what in God's name they're doing with Sami Zayn. He's so good in the ring. Don't get me wrong. Cedric Alexander is no slouch. I like him very much. But this whole Sami Zayn thing is really confusing. It's really kind of
Yeah, it's he's been really stop and go for a really long time, and then now apparently after SmackDown, he's what is he? Shinsuke Nakamura's mouthpiece now? Is that what he is?
I missed that.
Yeah, it seems like that. I think pretty much you can make the argument that ever since he came up from NXT, they don't know what to do with Zayn. You
Right.
know,
They have no idea what to do with it at all.
you can pretty much count on every time they do a show in Canada, he's gonna get the heat from the fans there by making fun of the Canadian fans.
Despite being Canadian.
Correct, which and I get that he's trying to be this this conscience sort of advocate and that sort of thing, but without, how can I put this, without any stakes to go after, without the U.S. Championship or the Intercontinental Championship or something of value on the line. It's just all empty.
He's Baron Corbin.
Yeah, exactly. And if you just want to be fodder for somebody that needs a push, then I guess that's what role you serve. I mean, everybody's got to play their role, but Sami Zayn, we all know, is so much better than that.
Yep.
His talent levels so far exceeds that. It's not even funny.
And I've been saying this for years. Look, with Sami Zayn in WWE and another guy in WWE named Kevin Owens, you turn one of them heel, you turn one of them face, and you have them beat the crap out of each other. They have proven over the course of 10 stinking years, they do that quite well.
Yeah.
They can make their rivalry really personal. And then as soon as they're done, go back to the back, hug, and have some beer.
And it was mildly interesting when they were feuding with Daniel Bryan and Shane, was it just 2 years ago now? Because that was a different wrinkle. Because you had those two, like, with their jobs in jeopardy, going after authority figures because they thought, they were moral crusaders and things like that. But then that fizzled out too.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Miz and R-Truth.
Right.
Yeah, thank you for getting that reference. So let's go ahead and move on to SmackDown. Speaking of Kevin Owens, he got bounced in the first round with a Shane McMahon assisted victory for Elias. And then in a really good match, Andrade went over on Apollo Crews.
He did.
I thought it was a great match. I've loved Andrade's. Well, once Andrade started being managed by Zelina Vega, his whole demeanor and his whole in-ring style changed. And I have become such a huge fan of Andrade. There's nothing bad about what he's doing right now. I like Apollo Crews. I like him. But Andrade right now, I think, is just in-ring talent, just hotter than just about anybody right now. Just about anybody right. So next week, and I'm having to use a spare phone to cheat. Next week on Raw, our first round matchups: The Miz and Baron Corbin. Think I'm gonna go poop while that match is going on. And Ricochet and Drew McIntyre. It is a darn shame that those two guys are in the same bracket.
Yeah, that 4-person bracket was Cesaro, Joe, Ricochet, and McIntyre.
Man, dude, that is like one of those NCAA tournament brackets where you realize in one of the 4 regions, seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4 are just like, oh my God.
Right.
Like, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and
Michigan State.
Wait, no, Michigan State, yeah.
They would never put Duke and North Carolina in the same pod, though.
True, yeah, you couldn't. But I'm just saying, you can make that statement with Michigan State because Michigan State did make the Final Four this year. But I was going to go something more along the lines of Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, and
VCU.
Auburn.
Always got to get that Auburn reference in there.
RJ, our basketball team went to a Final Four. How about you guys? Okay,
Nobody cares.
moving right along. By the way, what football season starts next week. This show's about to go straight to hell.
Yes, it is.
All righty. So let's just talk about that one match. Drew and Ricochet. I'm sorry, that's pay-per-view worthy right there. You know, you put a belt on the line right there, and man,
That's a match. That's a match that could go over 3 commercial breaks
no, I think so.
if they let it. I mean, I don't know that. I remember in the old, in the old days. What are we doing here? The original Kings of the Ring, there used to be the early round matches had like a 20-minute time limit or a 15-minute time limit or something like that. And a quick side note, this made me just think of this.
Real quick, which the way Raw is formatted right now, that is 15 minutes because three commercial breaks, 15 minutes. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that's about right.
I just thought, I don't know what made me think of this, but my favorite King of the Ring tournament ever, was the one that Kurt Angle won.
Oh, yeah.
Where he beat Rikishi in the final and he Olympic slammed Rikishi, and I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I think that was King of the Ring 2000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. That was a very good one because 2001 is when Shane got bludgeoned to crap, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2001 was Edge, but that was Kurt Angle's coming out party in 2000, in my opinion.
Yeah, because he was King Kurt, and then he had already won the European and Intercontinental title, right?
Yes.
And then as King Kurt won the WWE title.
But before that, he had the feud with Undertaker over the summer.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because he didn't win the title until October. He won it at No Mercy.
Yeah, with the booger.
After Rikishi came out and screwed The Rock.
Yeah, with the booger in his nose.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry, but he's on the entrance ramp on his knees with his arm out, and he's doing the fake crying thing like he did, and there's just little something right there, and I'm like, dude, here you go. So SmackDown side next week, we got Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin.
I'm there for that.
Dang. Gable, dude, I don't know what it is. Gable post haircut, killing it.
Yeah.
Killing it on 205 Live. I'm waiting for a Gable and Gulak match. Oh my Lord. And then that one's gonna be just all insane. And then I'm fanboying over this one, guys. Ali and Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy, who 2 weeks ago had a match of the year candidate with Roman Reigns, and on Tuesday night picked up a win over a former WWE World Heavyweight Champion in Daniel Bryan.
I think what I said several weeks ago about the impact that I hoped Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff would have on these shows might be starting to come to pass a little bit. Because if we spin it back last year this time, I don't think Buddy Murphy gets this run.
Oh God, no.
I don't think anybody bothers to discover what they have in Buddy Murphy or Ali or Cedric Alexander, or insert name of guy that needs run here.
Insert name of cruiserweight, Brian.
Right. And I'd like to think that this is a little bit of their fingerprints on it, that we're starting to see these guys, they're starting to realize, hey, we need depth on this roster. Because we can't just keep trotting Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins out every week and expect it to be compelling. We need a whole host of guys. That's why we rhapsodize about the Attitude Era so much, is there really was a lot of depth there.
Oh, yeah.
Was every match a 5-star classic? No, it wasn't. But you had all these guys which I'm not going to rattle off because we can rattle off all those names anytime we want. But I wonder if that's what they're trying to develop here is we need about 15 to 20 to 25 guys and gals that we can rely upon week by week to deliver compelling matches. So that's what I think is happening here. And I think they're using King of the Ring as a vehicle to say, hey, don't forget about these guys. You know, you're going to be seeing things from these guys real soon. You know, here's an appetizer.
Here. So we talked about you bring up the appetizer, but let's go ahead and do what we do best. Prognosticate. Hey, there's your big word for the day, Brian. Prognosticate. Definition.
To prognosticate means to make an educated prediction about something that you think will happen in the future. Prognosticate.
And the future would be in a few weeks when we crown the 2019 King of the Ring. So, gentlemen, these stakes were laid out. If someone is correct, they get to pretty much go all in, no pun intended, all out next week. By the way, RJ, get to go just full bore, heavy artillery on the other two jabronis. So I ask you, gentlemen, who do you see winning the Raw bracket, the SmackDown bracket, and then the whole kit and caboodle? Brian, you have your finger up.
I do have my finger up.
That means you either want someone to pull it so you can fart, or you have something to say, or both.
I have something to say that it does not involve flatulence.
Just say the word fart just one time.
No, flatulence. That's what you get from me. The final of this year's King of the Ring, and I have a very good reason for this because I've been begging and pleading for this guy to get his run for almost a year now because he's the future, in my opinion. From the coming out of the Raw side is going to be Drew McIntyre. Has to be because he's approaching radioactivity with being associated with Shane for as long as he has. And he needs to distance himself from that and get back to just wrestling. Bruising, drop kick, slap, DDT wrestling again. And from the SmackDown side, he's going to beat Andrade. Because as you said before, Andrade is the future also. But this is a good precursor to big things for Andrade. I think he gets out of the SmackDown bracket, and they have a match of the two of them could have a match of the year candidate. I think we can all agree on that.
They already have. It was called an NXT Takeover main event when Andrade beat McIntyre for the title.
Correct. And I think McIntyre wins. I don't know how. I'd like to think it was just a straight up, I'm going to pin you 1, 2, 3. I'm not, it's not going to be any nefarious because he doesn't have any running buddies right now. But I think that's what should happen. McIntyre should win and take his place as the 2019 King of the Ring.
Okay, before we go to RJ, quick commentary on yours. Going with two heels?
Yes.
Okay. RJ.
Because it's more about just good wrestling versus heel face. I kind of like to break away from that heel versus face mentality every once in a while.
Okay. RJ, what say you?
Well, I don't know how we're going to break the tie when Drew McIntyre wins King of the Ring, but coming out of the Raw side is Drew McIntyre. I'll do you one better. I'll give you final four. Drew McIntyre is going to beat Cedric Alexander to make it to the final.
Yeah.
And on the SmackDown side, Andrade is going to lose the SmackDown final to Ali.
Crap.
The King of the Ring final will be Drew McIntyre and Ali, and Drew McIntyre will be the King of the Ring.
Well, this just blew up in our faces. Because guess what I've got?
Honky Tonk Man can't be King of the Ring this year. He's not.
Damn.
How about How about Flash Funk? Can I go with Flash Funk?
He's injured.
Mantar?
He's been released. They future endeavored him.
Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
No. Bruiser Brody might be available. Let me see if he's in the bracket. Hold on a second. You want some action on Bruiser Brody?
He did.
I understand that.
He did. He's not like career dead, like, his career just flamed out and he died. No, somebody killed him.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I've got the exact same thing RJ does. Final Four and all. We're unanimously saying that Drew McIntyre wins it and he beats Ali for it. Yeah. I think the only other scenario would be, and truth be told, I think the whole thing's it's going to come down to the winner, in my opinion, of whoever wins Drew and Ricochet, I think wins the whole thing. If they put Ricochet over Drew, then I think it's Ricochet and Andrade, or even Ricochet and Buddy Murphy for the whole thing. But I don't see it happening. The King of the Ring, in my opinion, never works for a face.
Right.
The King of the Ring works for a heel.
I agree.
It's always been just pointless for a face. Ken Shamrock when he won it, Edge when he won it. Bret Hart never needed it. Booker T was a heel when he won it and then became King Booker.
And was still technically heel. He just got popped.
No, but I'm saying it never works for a face. And then I was naming off Edge. Edge was quasi-face then. Shamrock was a face. Bret Hart was a face and never needed it. But you look at all the really good kings of the ring, after they won the crown. Sheamus was a good king of the ring. Barrett was amazing. Owen Hart was otherworldly. And even though he never addressed himself as the king of the ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin launched Austin 316 that night. And that was one of the nights on the timeline of wrestling where you can say that is a night that everything changed.
And Triple H won King of the Ring and then kept finding different ways to break the crown because he hated it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was, because he was a heel when he won it as well, and that was a launching point for him. It's got to be, now that I think about it, there's no other scenario. It's got to be Drew.
It has to be McIntyre.
Yeah, but I don't know why they would, but then again, if Vince has any control over it, dang it, this is good stuff. I'm trying to watch my swearing today because I got really tired of editing and putting goat sounds to.
Lots of goat sounds.
Huh?
Lots of goat sounds
last week, and a lot of them, 85% of it was me. So, I'm trying to literally go this entire show with the 3 words you're allowed to say on radio: ass, hell, and damn. If it's good enough for Scott Van Pelt, it's good enough for me.
Damn right.
And I'm not tired yet.
No. And you know what? As another great philosopher, Steve Rogers once said, I can do this all day. Yeah, I've watched Endgame way too much. But that is America's ass. So King Drew McIntyre, but they can kind of, dude, I'm sorry, I could book it myself. For screw the crown, screw the robe, screw the scepter. He's the king of the ring, but he's a tyrannical king. He just becomes this ancient this ancient Scottish tyrant as the king.
You know what I pictured earlier though that I don't like? Like, so imagine Drew McIntyre dressed up as the King of the Ring, like he is the King of the Ring. He wins the King as the King of the Ring, wins the Universal Championship. And then now he's in all this King of the Ring stuff, and the belt would just look so horrible. It looks like a toy. Like, I think the belt would look absolutely awful with it. It's I don't know.
RJ, let me stop you.
McIntyre should be going for the title. So
Remember, I'll stop you with one thing. Put a period at the end of I just think the belt looks awful, and you're done.
Yeah.
That red strap is hideous.
that red strap is good though. Like, there's red straps that look good. The United States Championship in New Japan looks great. It has a red strap.
Right. But on the WWE championship, it looks horrible.
Looks really
Black or white, boys and girls. We have proven that white looks good because both the women's titles look really sick. I think both of them look amazing on the white belt strap. The Intercontinental title looks sick, but then again, the Intercontinental title is just one of those classic looks, never, timeless. The Universal title is almost as ugly as the 24/7 title.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think 24/7. I think the belt itself is ugly as crap, but
It is.
the belt itself is ugly as crap. But what they're doing with the title is just funny as hell.
It won.
Let's go ahead and move into some other stuff. First off, something happened on Raw. This isn't on our format, guys. I'm kind of going off script for just a couple of minutes, if you don't mind. Something happened on Raw that bothered me. Bothered me so greatly that Thursday night, I will have this show up on Friday because I got nothing going on tomorrow except clean the house. Something bothered me greatly on Monday. We have two people that are probably about to start feuding for the Universal Championship. And they are now the tag team champions. Many rant mode on. There was a question mark there. Many rant mode on. Don't even need the dun 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 for this thing. Has this ever worked? Has there ever in the history of WWE, when they have done this, and we have all watched this stuff for a long time, when two guys who want the world title become tag team champs, does this ever make an impact, or is it just something stupid to get them more pissed off at each other? And it basically serves to be just a throwaway gimmick that should have been thrown away before it was ever put out there.
RJ, you can go ahead if you have anything to say about that, because I'm trying to think of a time when it's worked.
I might freak out. I'm not even like maybe Brian should go first because I'm concerned about a different part of this that really bothers me. There's the other half of this decision is making me pull my hair out.
I think I might know where you're going with that, because this bothered me too for another reason. Here you go again with trying to stamp out any momentum the OC has.
I mean,
do you respect Gallows, Anderson, and AJ Styles, or don't you? Do you want them to get over as a faction, or don't you? Do you want them to have credibility going forward for the rest of 2019 as a faction that just runs people down, or don't you?
Right. Right.
You know,
I knew they should have left.
Yeah, and Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. I mean, what, they're going to hold the titles for a month?
Like, how do you? Earlier in the show, Michael Cole literally said the words, "The OC is the most dominant force in the WWE," and then in the main event on that same show, they lose the tag team titles to not a tag team. What is even happening? Like, there is so much stop and start with stuff like this that it just gets so frustrating, and it's always the same guys, and it's so irritating. And I knew they should have left, and they would be so much more appreciated working for any other wrestling company. I'm gonna stop before I start getting really mad.
Before he gets too mad, he can't turn back. Brian, you had your hand up first. That's why I have two fingers up, because I'm like, I'm going second.
What are we defining as this working? Are we defining when this works as the two people in question hold on to the belts for a significant period of time before they turn on each other? Or
making sense. Making sense.
Okay, then I'll take you back.
Not being stupid.
And I don't remember if the belts were on the line for this or not. I'm thinking of, I think it was 2006, when in between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, you had, oh boy, what was it? You had Taker and, no, you had Cena and Shawn.
Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah.
For like 2 months, they kind of worked, sort of. And you could tell there were mind games going on with both of them. You know, that was an I'm not going to say it was perfect.
But here's the thing, and this is my beef. You don't need crap like that, because the championship, because let's be honest, boys and girls, the WWE clearly puts more stock in the Universal title than they do the WWE title, despite the WWE title being around for a hell of a lot longer. They have decided that the Universal title means more. You shouldn't need to use the tag team titles as a vehicle to make your Universal Championship match freaking matter. Ever. And here's my thing, and this is the reason I hate it. And I will stop with this. If you need, all right, Brian and RJ are fighting for RJ's IWGP Heavyweight Championship that he has right behind him. And now all of a sudden, I'm going to decide to make RJ and Brian the IWGP Tag Team Champions. I
just won a championship.
Yeah, congratulations, Braun Strowman. You finally have a championship again, and you finally won a tag team title with a guy who isn't in middle school, who is actually past puberty and has known the love of a woman. By the way, shout out to Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, because they got engaged today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Shout out to them. Congratulations. Seth, please don't cheat on her. Seth, please don't cheat on her. But if you need to use another title to make this title match important, that title match should not be happening.
Doesn't matter. I'm still the IWGP Tag Team Champions.
Cool. Hey, you brought up Shawn and Cena. Shawn Michaels, at some point, is going to be in this GOAT discussion that we're going to have later tonight. John Cena at some point is going to be in this GOAT conversation that we're having. You don't need to make them tag team champions. You just simply need to say John Cena, Shawn Michaels, main event, WWE Championship. Okay, that is about as licensed to print money as Undertaker, Sting, Hogan, Andre, Rock, Triple H. You know, it's just okay. Hey, Rock and Triple H are fighting. Okay, I'm in. Taker and hell, Taker at WrestleMania. Okay, I don't care. It's Taker at WrestleMania. Things like that. Flair, Sting, Flair, Steamboat, Flair, Dusty. I mean, my God, if it's stupid booking, it's not even lazy booking, because even if you were being lazy, you wouldn't even be that dumb. It's just stupid, asinine booking, and I hate it. Rant mode off. RJ might go rant mode on this one, and we'll just kind of glance over this because it is noteworthy, but doesn't really need to take up a lot of time on the show tonight. Earlier this week, it was announced by WWE that NXT will be leaving WWE Network and going live on the USA Network at 7 p.m. Eastern Wednesday nights. In late September. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in early October, isn't there another show that's going to be on 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday nights on TNT?
A better show, you mean? A better show?
Huh?
A better show? You mean a better show? Not a better show?
NXT is pretty good. But, and I might be quoting somebody on, or paraphrasing somebody on this show that's wearing a black t-shirt, nodding his head begrudgingly. But I thought WWE didn't really consider this a war.
Yeah. They're not
And
scared.
it's not a war, but we're gonna put the best thing that we've got on the same time slot as our competitor.
No, it's not competition, remember? They're not competition.
Bullcrap.
Remember?
You're putting the only really good, viable product that you have
Yep.
live 2 hours from Full Sail against it. Don't tonight is full of great philosophers from me. In the immortal words of the great philosopher Judge Judy, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. She used that on the show once.
And you were around to hear it.
Mama rant mode on used to love watching some Judge Judy, so I don't want to hear it. But dude, why? I can't for the life of me. Don't get me wrong. I know full well why WWE is doing it. Why don't you just come out and say, yeah, they're going to be competition. They put out some good stuff. We got to be ready for it. Here's the thing. Don't just be ready, don't just be ready for them by trying to split the market like Dana White does anytime Top Rank has a really good match. By the way, I guarantee you the UFC is going to have something on TV on September 14th when Tyson Fury fights. I guarantee you they will. Don't try and split the market. Just make the product that you got on Mondays and Tuesdays really good. And then who gives a crap what kind of ratings AEW does on Wednesdays? Because then you can say AEW isn't going against us. We don't need to go against them. We've been here for years. But no. And look, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying that AEW is going to be an inferior product. But I'm saying WWE can take that stance and go, they're not on my level. Kind of like, we all like football. It was Mercury Morris played for the 72 Dolphins and said something about the Patriots when they were undefeated until the Super Bowl. Something to the effect of, don't call me when they're in my neighborhood. Call me when they're on my block. Kind of WWE could easily take that same mentality. Don't call me until they matter. Matter in comparison to us. But they're not. They could easily just let AEW do their thing, which they will. And WWE could do their thing, and they're competing but not competing. WWE is choosing to really make this a competition by putting their best product out there. Not Raw, not SmackDown, NXT. And unfortunately, as much as I have loved NXT from the word go, NXT is going to get buried under the avalanche that is the launch of Wednesday Night Dynamite. Wednesday Night Dynamite is going to pull in some amazing numbers because Cody and company has built a massive fan base. It's going to be killer. I think it's a stupid decision by WWE.
It's ridiculous. They're not competition. We're not scared. Like, they don't even, there have been so many times where they just like refuse to even acknowledge that it's a thing. And then now they're taking NXT and moving it to Wednesdays. It's just, like you said, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's rating. Like, don't tell me that this other company's not competition and then counter program that their show. Like, it's either you think they're competition or you don't think they're competition. Either way, from jump, us over here on this side, we've all said since the beginning the same thing that Matt and Nick and Cody and everybody are saying. It's not a competition. It's about an alternative. It's
Right.
not about being competitive with WWE. It's never been about that. It's about putting an alternative out there that is different than what the WWE is offering. It's not about competition. It never has been. And it still will continue to be about putting out something that's different. Cody recently said in an interview, he doesn't even think the majority of the fan bases are intermingled. He said the way that he sees it is that the majority of the AEW fan base are people that haven't watched WWE in a long time and don't even care. And I'm in a lot of the AEW kind of Twitter circles and stuff, and most of those people don't even watch WWE at all, the people that I talk to about AEW online and stuff. So it's not a competition. It's a different thing. Like, it's clearly WWE sees it as a competition, even though they said they didn't. And AEW still doesn't see it as a competition and has always said they don't.
And the people like us who watch both, let's be honest, ratings are going to be the same for both products. You know why? 3 simple letters. And it's not NXT, and it's not WWE, and it's not AEW. Can you tell me what those 3 letters are?
DVR.
Exactly.
Exactly. And
Pick one that you want to watch, boys and girls. And guess what? From week to week, it can vary. Okay? There's going to be an AEW World Title match on Dynamite. Okay, I'm going to watch that one live, and I'm going to DVR NXT and then fire up the DVR the minute AEW goes off the air. Or Gargano Cole Part 4 on NXT, and there's really not a oh my God kind of match on Dynamite that night. I'll watch Dynamite at 9:03. I'll finish watching NXT, go to the bathroom, come back to this couch, grab the damn remote. I'd grab it, but I can't find the son of a gun right now. And I'd show it as a prop, grab the remote, whoop, and 2 hours later, I'm done.
Yep.
I mean, and guess what? Ratings count the same way. Nielsen counts it the same way. So if we're going to try and get into a ratings war in this day and age, you're going to find that your numbers are skewed because they may not watch it live, but it still counts because it's being recorded.
I would also like to mention that WWE also said that NXT will be available on demand Thursday afternoons after the live showing on Wednesday night on USA. So that kind of shoots themselves in the foot a little bit to me, saying that they're going to put it on the network the next day. Like,
Yeah.
There's going to be a ton of people that are just going to watch AEW Wednesday night and then watch NXT on the network Thursday instead of Wednesday.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, even if I don't catch it on the network, and let's say I have issues with the network right now and I can't get on, guess what? I'm a Hulu subscriber.
Right.
Raw is Raw is on Hulu on
Right.
Tuesday mornings, and it's condensed to 90 minutes.
Right.
SmackDown, same way, on available Wednesday mornings. Guess what's available on Thursday mornings on the network? NXT. Guess what's available on Monday mornings after a takeover?
The takeover.
Yeah, the takeovers are on NXT, I'm sorry, are on Hulu. I mean, it's using it. I don't necessarily have a problem with them putting something against Dynamite. I think it's douchey, but at the same time, I don't have a problem with it because it's business. I do have a problem with them putting NXT out there because they're now expecting, and this is a horrible way of phrasing it, but this is also how WWE looks at NXT. NXT is developmental, whereas Raw and SmackDown are main roster. So what you're telling me is you're creating competition with AEW by putting your junior varsity out there. That's the way they look at NXT. Granted, it has a bigger following. It has a more rabid fan base because it's written differently, booked differently, created differently, because Vince McMahon does not have his hands on it. And Triple H has already gone and said, yeah, if you think Vince is going to get his hands on NXT when it goes live, yeah, think again. And it was that sarcastic tone of his where you're like, yeah, no, he's not kidding. And that wasn't really Triple H. That was Paul Levesque. You think again. But still, it's AEW Dynamite versus WWE's Junior Varsity. Which, don't get me wrong, Junior Varsity can kick the crap out of the varsity team, but so I don't like anything about it. Let's go ahead and move on because dadgummit, we got to talk about something. And I was wanting to talk about this a couple weeks ago, but Wrestling World blew up because G1 Climax had to be good, had to be really good. We are now getting back into our greatest of all time discussion. My first one with you guys, because you guys took care of this while I was on a family emergency road trip when you guys discussed the greatness of Chris Jericho, which, by the way, who just recently had his 20th anniversary of his debut on Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
Which goes on my list of loudest pops I have ever heard on in wrestling. So tonight we will be discussing the greatness and the greatness of another wrestler and why he deserves to be considered the greatest of all time, the Undertaker. I was not here for the show several weeks ago when you discussed Jericho. Brian, you guys came up with some great criteria. Would you mind going over it again, sir?
Why not at all? I'd be glad to. We wanted to keep it somewhat simple, again, for the folks out there in Wrestling with Eagles Land. Our criteria for the GOAT discussion centers around 5 categories. Career longevity is the first one. Were you around for a long period of time, or were you just around for a short while? That's going to be the first part of it. Did you have what we call storyline relevance? Were you around for a long time, but yeah, you were just a mid-carder, you were just kind of like enhancement talent, a jobber, that kind of thing. Or were you involved in a memorable story arc for most of the time you were with the company? Your mic skills. How good are you with the stick? Can you talk them into the building? Do you have memorable catchphrases? Do you cut a compelling promo? How many championships were you a contender for, and did you actually win? And then finally, your overall health. Your best ability being your availability, or were you always nicked up and out with injuries? Those are kind of our 5 big time criteria for this GOAT discussion.
So appreciate that, and I actually didn't realize that I had it on a notepad on the dead phone where I keep all my notes for the show and everything else, and also my stopwatch to time this thing. That way we don't have a 2.5 hour long show like we did. We're doing solid on time right now. We're not even doing hour yet. Let me go ahead and make the first present Exhibit A, since this guy was my idea. And so when you talk about The Undertaker, there are some pros and cons to him. And I'll get the cons out of the way first before I get into the pros. Hide the negatives by accentuating the positives. And I think the big con for him is overall health. Undertaker was injured quite a bit. Foot injuries, hand injuries, elbow injuries as he got older, hip injuries. He, from the time that he threw Mick Foley off the cell to now, to 2019, he has always been dealing with something. And he's never, very rarely has he been able to stretch a couple of years together without having to take some time off. So his availability did suffer because of that. However, I think that gets offset by his career longevity. Keep in mind, there are a ton of guys who are in the WWE Hall of Fame that started wrestling after The Undertaker did, and they're retired. And Taker still pops in and out every once in a while. Taker's in his 50s and can still go-ish. I don't, he's not, you're not going to get a "you still got it" chant out of him now, but he's still there, and he, as a big man, he's still going to be able to do what he does. But his longevity also spans 24, no, 25. How many WrestleManias now? 25, 26 that he's appeared in?
I think, yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Early 20s, maybe mid 20s.
Yeah. Let's say, if he's either 23-2 or he's 24-2 at WrestleMania. So it's either 25 or 26. So there's your record. His only losses coming to Lesnar at 30, and then a couple of years later to Roman Reigns in Orlando when RJ and Mrs. RJ were there. Oh, and the Villain in Training. I always forget the Villain in Training was there. RJ, Mama Villain, and the Villain in Training. There we go. I like that. You let your wife know that we've now named her Mama Villain.
I will. She literally just came in here, said goodnight, and walked away. So, if you would have said that 5 seconds sooner, she would have heard.
She would have popped, and that would have been awesome. But yeah. So career longevity. Yeah. Relevant storylines, he's had plenty. I give you one simple Vince McMahon impression. That's gotta be Kane. That the American Badass. How many times was the man buried? The casket match against Yoko. When Kane and Vince buried him alive. When the Nexus buried him alive. There have been so many times that they, put him in a casket, lit it on fire, buried him alive, crap like that. That way, when he comes back, it's just that much more sick. He had the one where the Ortons put him in a casket, and then months later, the Druids come out, sit the casket on its end, the lightning strikes the whole darn thing's ablaze, and then Taker just pushes the door open, and he's still standing there in the casket, and the rest of the son of a gun's still on fire. The Undertaker has been a part of so many epic moments in WWE. Has he been the best in-ring worker? Not even close. We will talk about guys that can wrestle circles around Mark Calloway. But I want to add a sixth criteria to this. And I hate this word, but it matters in this type of discussion. Intangibles, those unmeasurable things. Every wrestler's got them. Jericho's was the ability to constantly reinvent himself and never be stale. Undertaker's in one lone intangible that I think sets him apart from everybody: mystique. There is an aura about the Undertaker to the point where you hear that gong and it's just, the pop you're getting initially isn't just yay, it's that gasp, that oh my God, he's here. And it's always been like that. It's just, oh crap, it's the dead man. His entrance, that whole production goes to the mystique, the different WrestleMania entrances. I can't remember what WrestleMania it was, but it was when he fought Punk, and
29.
He was. So what?
29.
29. He's coming down the ramp, and all the arms are reaching up for him. Single greatest gangster entrance I've ever seen in my life. I defy you to find me a better. Just stuff like that. And that's why I'm getting so passionate about this, because he creatively set himself apart from everybody else. And the one time he tried to reinvent himself, he reinvented himself as the complete antithesis of what The Undertaker used to be, and came back with something just completely and utterly metal. I mean, the trench coat, the Harley, the bandana, and it went from being the dead man to you're a dead man, because he just came out and was just absolute, just badass. And then that gimmick ended. He went back to the Undertaker, kind of became a cross because he was wearing the MMA gloves, and his gear was very, very, very much like the American Badass, and it just was kind of an amalgamation of both styles. But in championships, he's what, a five,
Seven.
Seven-time champ. Won the tag titles a couple of times. Won it with Kane. Won it with Austin. Big Show. Won it with Shawn, I think. Undertaker was in a couple of those title feuds where they put the tag titles on them when somebody had the world title. Couple, 3 times. But Undertaker, because of that mystique, never had to have the title. No, didn't have to be Jericho winning 50, 20 some odd titles. Never had to be Edge holding 30 different championships. Taker's mystique and his character and his mic skills set himself apart. I'm done.
RJ, let's throw it over to you.
Pretend this is a mic.
So you made most of the points that you can make about the Undertaker. The main thing that I wanted to say also does center around the mystique and the aura of the Undertaker, because of the mystique and the aura that has always surrounded him from the minute that Brother Love introduced him and he came out. Like, from the minute that he started until today, tomorrow, and forever, the Undertaker has always had that aura where it doesn't matter if the Undertaker is challenging for the world title. It doesn't matter if the Undertaker is rivaling with the man that's the champion. The Undertaker, the character The Undertaker, the man that is The Undertaker, has never in his entire career been mid-card. Whether he is fighting for the title or not, he is always, whether it's a casket match, a buried alive match, a Hell in a Cell match. There's so many matches. The Undertaker is just based on the aura and the mystique and the entrance of the Undertaker and the things that have always happened in the kick-ass rivalries that he has always had. It's just his character and the things that surround his character are just always so intriguing that he's never been mid-card. His entire career, he's never been considered a mid-card act, not ever. Not for a single day. And that speaks volumes just saying that. And then you can go on and say he's a multiple-time tag team champion. He is a multiple-time world champion. He never needed it, but he's still so good that he got it so many times. A man that doesn't need a world championship. Winning a world championship 7 times says so much about that guy. I myself and others have bought tickets to wrestling events specifically for and only for The Undertaker. It's a thing you hear a lot. It's, oh man, you've never seen The Undertaker's entrance live. You got to see The Undertaker's entrance live. I mean, like, you got it.
Never seen it. And I swear to this day, the only times I've ever seen The Undertaker live, I saw him on a Raw once years ago when he was tag teaming with the Big Show. So it wasn't that same entrance. He was the Lord of Darkness. And let's be honest, that one didn't count. And the other time I saw him was at Armageddon in Birmingham, Alabama, when they did the Armageddon Hell in a Cell. And he was the American Badass then.
Yeah, he was.
But it wasn't. Dun, 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 dun.
Right.
Something. Before we get to Brian, I want to ask you guys a question. We talked about he didn't need the championships, but he won them. He won the world title 7 times. Yes or no? If the amount of world title reigns the Undertaker has is 0, are we still having this discussion?
Absolutely.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, I think we still are.
Okay.
Because even if you subtract that from the discussion, there's still an awful lot to talk about.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more question. I know, Brian, you were in and out of wrestling. RJ, you've been pretty much in since you were a kid, right?
Yeah, there was a little bit of time where life interfered, but not long.
Were you watching wrestling when he debuted?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
At Survivor Series in Richfield, here in Northeast Ohio. So you were watching that.
Absolutely.
Brian, were you?
I heard of it, but that was the gap that we've talked about, where WrestleMania 3 happened, and then it wasn't until I was in college where I got back into it.
WrestleMania 3, okay. So so you were a few years removed. RJ, I'll just ask RJ. I'll just ask you this question because Brian is NA, not applicable. Yes or no? Undertaker scared the crap out of you when you first saw it because you were a kid. So was I. Scared the hell out of me. Like, what the? You know, obviously I'm a kid. I'm not swearing.
Right?
I'm like,
Yeah, he's right.
Thing?
Yeah, I'm absolutely terrified for sure.
What? Oh my God. To me, The Undertaker, when I was a kid, is what kids now are dealing with Bray Wyatt. Going, oh my God, this is the thing nightmares are made of.
My daughters are legitimately terrified of the Fiend.
As they should be.
Like actual tears running out of the room, screaming kind of fear. Like they're terrified. I won't even put it on and around. Like I'll pause it and wait till they go to their room or something when I'm watching wrestling around them when it's time for the Fiend or whatever. I won't even. They're terrified, so scared.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If I were a kid, I would be absolutely just mortified of the Fiend. But yeah, when I was a kid, I was terrified. And I've only been in my life scared of two wrestlers in my entire life. And I think so highly of them now, it's not even funny. One is The Undertaker, and the other is a guy named Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack scared the crap out of me because I thought he was insane. Brian, RJ, and I have talked so much about this. My brother, I now give you the floor.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I'm not going to speak much about career longevity because you either have it or you don't, and he obviously has it. I'll go a little bit deeper into the storyline relevance because, and it begins and ends for me with the streak. I mean, the fact that WWE realized about 9 or 10 or 11 matches in WrestleMania matches into this, that, wow, we've got something on our hands here that we can market. And it became all these people lining up to take their shot at breaking the streak.
Trivia question. When they finally realized they had the streak, it was number 10 because he won the match and went, after the match, who'd he beat?
The Nature Boy.
Woo! Yep, Woo! WrestleMania 18, right. Because Taker wanted to work with Flair.
Yes.
Begged, demanded Flair. And that, even though he was 10-0, that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the streak was truly born.
Right. And, we talk about the streak. We talk about casket matches. We talk about Hell in a Cell. Higher Power, anyone? I know the angle came off with a whimper, but when that whole thing was going on, where to, Stephanie?
When he started the Lord of Darkness, that was so awesome.
Yeah, lashing her to the symbol, for that dark wedding.
Crucified her.
Let's just say it. All that stuff.
Because that's when I first started really enjoying darker stuff and horror movies and things of that nature. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
And then I'm sure I'm leaving some people out, but here's just a small smattering of the people he's had relevant rivalries with. Kane, Mankind, Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mr. McMahon, Hulk Hogan, CM Punk, Edge, Kurt Angle. That's more than enough for me right there. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few people, but that's 14 guys right there that are the bedrock of a Hall of Fame career. If you can have notable rivalries with all those guys, I'd say you're doing something right. Here's where I'm going to deviate from both of you a little bit.
Okay.
And you might want to come up with a graphic for this because it's unpopular opinion alert time.
Uh-oh.
I have to detract some points from him for his mic skills. And here's why. He's, for me, only been average at best on the mic. I remember one promo that he ever cut. And that was the Learning Tree promo that he cut on The Rock when they were feuding 99 or whatever it was. Okay. It's time for you to go to the Learning Tree. King of the Ring, I accept. Because a lot of like the early stuff when he was, sanding the caskets and stuff, it was Paul Bearer doing all the talking for him. Even when he was doing the Lord of Darkness stuff, it was a lot of, it was kind of a little bit like what we hated so much about what Bray Wyatt's been doing before he was the Fiend. It was just the ramblings of a madman. Yes, Taker was winning. That's the big difference. But for me, he's kind of always been average at best on the microphone. He hasn't really done much for me. Now, that being said, because of the length of his career and because of the fact that he's the conscience of the WWE, his words carry weight. But there just hasn't been a lot of memorable things that he's said on the microphone. One other one just came to mind when Vince was doing the Kiss My Ass Club and Taker came out to quote unquote rescue Jim Ross.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that because you don't respect me? And another heel turn there, and he shoves Jim Ross's face into Vince's butt and all that kind of stuff. And we can, argue that another day. So that would be the one area where I might take him a tick down. But I do, with all the respect in the world, sir. I mean no ill will towards you, because the RJ and Patrick, you both know this. The Undertaker is one of the few wrestlers that anytime I watch a match of his, whether it was from 1993 or whether it was from 2014, and he comes out, I don't care how many times I've seen the match, there's goosebumps on my skin, because it's like, what are we about to see here? And my favorite Undertaker image of all time, and I did some thinking about this when I was making my notes for this show. My favorite thing that he ever did, there was that time period between 1996, I think, late 96 and 98, where he would come down to the ring and he would stand on the ring steps and the lights would be out. You know what he does now, but he never used to do it this way. He would raise his hands like this and the lights in the house would come up. That didn't used to happen. All of a sudden, he would just put his arms out like that, and you'd hear a thunderclap, and the lights would come on like that. And the one time that was the most memorable for me was the match against Bret Hart at SummerSlam, where Shawn was the special guest referee. And they cut to Bret, and Bret's kind of like backing him away from him, going like it gives him the willies or something like that. For me, that's my favorite Undertaker image, just him like putting the hands out like that, thunderclaps, lights come up. It's about to be on, basically.
Yeah. You also forgot his early feud with Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Not the Lesnar returning after Lesnar pre UFC Heavyweight Championship.
Yes.
When strictly a WWE guy. That feud was brutal.
Where Taker had the cast on his hand.
Yep. Say what?
With Paul Heyman on the outside of the Hell in a Cell. Great Hell in a Cell match. One of the best ever.
Good Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, love that.
So keep in mind, Mark Calloway, back in WCW, managed by Paul Heyman.
Yep, absolutely. Me and Mark Callis.
RJ, what was his finish? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Oh,
Heart punch.
Yes, it was. That's right.
Heart punch.
Heart punch. Right.
It was the heart punch. Because he also, and this is kind of where the move we now refer to as old school came up. He also had a move called the heat-seeking missile. He would stand on the second rope and then walk across that rope and then drop an elbow.
Right.
Yep. And that's where old school was derived from. My last piece of evidence, and this is, I think, might be where we could put a bow on it, unless you guys want to say something after the fact. The emotion that the Undertaker brings out of the audience. I give you two exhibits, and they are tightly applied to this show. Exhibit 1, I take you back to a couple of years ago, that fateful night where Team RJ, Team Villain, saw it live, where Roman Reigns defeated The Undertaker. Undertaker took the hat, the gloves, the trench coat off, put him in the middle of the ring, walked halfway up the ramp, put the fist in the air. They lowered him down, lights off. I don't know about anybody inside the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, but I know at a townhouse in Richfield, Ohio, there was a man on this show wearing glasses that is not speaking right now that was crying. There was also some guy on this show wearing glasses that is speaking right now, wearing a blue t-shirt, that was crying. I guarantee you there were a crap ton of people in Orlando, and I'm sure RJ saw them with his own eyes, kind of like how everybody saw him freaking out at Double or Nothing when Adam Hangman Page came out, that were bawling like babies.
Everybody I could see through my tear-filled eyes was crying.
Yeah. The emotion he brings out. When Edge retired, nobody did that. When Shawn retired after 26, when he lost to Taker, not that many people cried, but not that many people cried. It was a lot of thank you Shawns and a lot of thank you Edges. But nobody elicits that reaction. Exhibit 2. RJ, you've said it. You know, you have to see that entrance live. And I can honestly say I've never seen that entrance live. Today, if I'm lucky enough, and I get to before he decides to completely and utterly hang it up for good, if I ever get to see that, I guarantee you I will be bawling like a baby. I will be crying as much as I would cry if the Braves won the World Series, Auburn won a national championship, or I won the Powerball. That to me is one of those moments where, hi Jenny, she made an appearance. Come on, it's one of those moments where I would be like just an emotional overload because of how much he has meant to this business and this entertainment product that we have invested countless years, countless decades of energy to. And this is a reason we do this show, because we love this crap. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, wrestling, it's dorky, it's fake, it's scripted. Yep, sure is. And we love it. Don't care. You know it's fake, right? Yep, don't care. Suspension of disbelief. It's like a sci-fi movie. Yeah, you know what? I love the Marvel movies. I love Star Wars. That crap ain't real.
Right.
But it's a suspension of disbelief. No such thing as the Force. But you know what? You never underestimate the power of the Force either. Never underestimate the power of the Force. Just like Samoa Joe would also say, you never underestimate the power game.
Because the power game will not let you down.
Power game will not let you down, because if you do not believe in the power game, you will be touched by the power game. He is so funny on that up down down on up down lately. I love it. Anyway, sidebar. Jericho does not elicit that emotion. Shawn does not elicit that much emotion. Shawn did when he came back. That was it. Hunter, Flair, Dusty. I can keep going. Edge, Owen Hart, Bret Hart, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Nobody elicits the emotion of The Undertaker. And my opinion, if you're doing just a WWE, If you're doing a WWE Mount Rushmore and he's not on there, then you're doing it wrong.
Agreed.
There are two people that absolutely positive. You could probably make the argument for three that are shoe-ins for WWE's Mount Rushmore: Hogan, Austin, Taker. And the fourth one is up for debate. It could be Shawn, it could be The Rock, it could be Brett, it could be Bruno, it could be Andre, it could be Bob Sparkplug Holly. See, I'm throwing out random names, but it's the emotion. And it's why The Undertaker, I personally believe, is the greatest big man of all time. Him and Vader, 1 and 1A. So, big man, either tall dude or 300-pound plus.
Yep.
So,
well, I think that was a very well constructed argument for the Undertaker. We do not know at this time, at present time of recording, who our third installment will be. That'll be down the road a piece. We will figure it out.
yeah.
But
Go ahead, Brian.
But RJ, I believe it is about that time for the Wrestling with Egos assembly to hand in their homework. So if you wouldn't mind reminding us, what was the match that you had for our viewing pleasure last week?
Kazuchika Okada versus Minoru Suzuki in the main event of Minoru Suzuki's 30th anniversary show.
First off, how in God's name could those guys wrestle in that much rain?
No kidding.
Oh my God, that was like a friggin' monsoon, man. Like, good God. You could tell. Before we get into the match, was it just me, or did Okada just not seem like he really wanted to commit to a drop kick?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
like, oh crap. Okay, thank God. I'm not dead. Yeah, nobody went up top. But I've talked a lot. Brian, you go.
Okay. I was talking, but while you were in and out of the frame in our pre-show, I was talking to RJ a little bit about this. The more New Japan content I consume, I'm starting to get a lot of an education about what it takes to be a New Japan performer. Because I thought there was a mistake when I queued this match up. After I asked, I screenshotted what I thought was the match, and Patrick said, yes, that's the match. Go ahead. And I started watching it the other night, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, first of all, it's outside and everybody's got umbrellas. And then they showed the ring, and I'm like, okay, there's puddles in the ring.
Yep.
And then I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be a tent, right? And I'm looking, there's no tent. There's no, they're not going inside for this. They're out there, and everybody, And what I'm starting to realize is that if that's what the promoter has dictated that we need to do, then we need to do it. We need to figure out a way to give the people what they came for, and what they came for is a match between Minoru Suzuki and Kazuchika Okada. So all your aerial stuff goes out the window because you have to wrestle safe. And conditions like this dictate, okay, it's got to be ground and pound. It's got to be slaps, kicks, chops, holds that are ground based.
Facing each other around ringside and beating the brakes off each other.
Right. And then your
Suzuki does all the time anyway.
Yeah, and then your power stuff too. So coming at it from that standpoint, from never having seen a Minoru Suzuki match ever, the first thing that I noticed was just the look on Suzuki's face the whole time. The scowl, the contempt.
He looks at all the time.
Yeah, I don't like you. I'm going to commence to, beating the tar out of you right now.
He looks like the miserable son of a gun on the planet.
Right. So only because of the limitations that were placed in the match because of the environment, I'm giving it a B plus. Because I think if this had been a Budokan Hall match, for example, or if this had been a Super J Cup match or something like that, where they could have done a little aerial stuff, not much, because I know that I get that that's not Suzuki's strength and trade. But that's the only reason I downgraded a little bit, is because the rain and the weather wreaked havoc on what they could have done creatively.
Well,
But
you will get that on August 31st when they face each other for the championship at Royal Quest.
got you. I will be eagerly awaiting the outcome of that match as well.
As will I. For me, I'll go ahead and give my grade first. I'm going to give it an A minus. I loved it, but I wouldn't give it and for the reasons that Brian just stated, that's why I'm not giving it a higher A. You're going to put a number grade on it, it's probably a 92. Still really friggin' good, but what I loved was what they did in spite of the weather limitations. The brutality of the match. It was brutality without violence.
Yeah.
It was physical. It was hard hitting. It was, imagine if you took Walter and Walter and just, you know what, guys, just chop the hell out of each other. Okay? Pat, pat, pat. That's all it was. Because, I mean, and you could tell watching that match, neither one of those cats are holding back. They are potatoing each other.
Yep. And there's explosions of water that's.
Oh, yeah. There was one, and I can't remember at what point in the match. They're outside, and Okada's back is against the guardrail. Both arms are draped back like so. Rain's coming down pretty good, and Suzuki just fires one right across the middle of his pecs, right in his sternum, and you just see the water just. And I'm like, oh.
I may or may not have replayed that about 6 or 7 times before I continued on with the match.
Look at what you're talking about. I slow-moed that crap. I literally, because what I was able to do, watching it on my phone, I mirrored it onto the TV. And then I zoomed in on the little scroll, the timeline scroll bar, and I was able to go frame by frame and just like, oh crap. Oh yeah, it was one of the most brutally, and I might coin this phrase, might be one of the most brutally beautiful things I've ever seen. I think the rain actually added this weird beauty to it, because all of these moves from a visual standpoint were amplified by the rain. Okada gets him up for the tombstone. Because he calls that red ink, doesn't he?
I don't think he does anymore.
He used to, though, right?
Yeah, they just always say tombstone on commentary now, though.
But he hits Suzuki with the pile driver, and he pile drives his head right into a puddle in the ring, and you just see, psh, it's like dropping a bowling ball into that puddle. I'm like, it was kind of not like funny ha-ha giggle. It was one of those giggles where you're like, hey, that was cool.
Yeah.
You drop a watermelon onto concrete from 30 feet up in the air, and you just watch it just like that was cool. Kind of like it was a Beavis and Butthead kind of moment. Like, yeah. Dude, I'm sorry, Brian, you can roll your eyes, but that's the only way I can really talk about it, because there's no other rhyme and reason to say that was cool other than just it was visually odd and unique and kind of cool. So you're like, that was cool. That was pretty rad. But yeah, it was it was stuff like that, and I've loved Okada since the first time I saw him on Access TV. I think the first time I saw him wrestle was a Tanahashi match. Tell you how long ago it was. Mauro Ranallo was still doing the English commentary on Axis for New Japan.
That was better.
Say what?
That was better.
Yeah.
Commentary was better then.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Kevin Kelly. But
oh, I love Kevin Kelly, but he doesn't usually do it on Access.
Oh yeah. I got a newfound appreciation for Minoru Suzuki watching this, because I just took inventory of just how methodical he is. And he reminded me a lot, not necessarily in wrestling, and shout out and rest in peace, one of my former professors from college, Jerry Chandler. Jerry Chandler taught a ton of classes that I took at Jacksonville State University. And Chandler was methodical in the way he delivered a lecture. Everything he said meant something. Every example he gave you meant something. Everything Minoru Suzuki does in the ring means something. It leads to something else. It's not scientific. It's not beautiful. It's not this, Daniel Bryan, Kurt Angle, Matt Technician kind of thing. It's this beauty with a sledgehammer. You guys ever see the movie Kill Bill? Of
course.
All right. I don't know if Brian has or not, because I don't think Brian, but I don't think Tarantino's his back. But RJ, you know the part where Uma Thurman's character realizes she's pregnant, and the Asian girl blows a hole in the door with the shotgun.
Yep.
And then Uma Thurman asks her, "You any good with that shotgun?" "Not that I have to be from this distance, but I'm a surgeon with this shotgun." Kind of Minoru Suzuki. I don't have to be good with this at this distance, but I am.
Right. Absolutely.
It's like, I'm surgical, I'm precise, but I'm hitting you with hand grenades.
He's very much like that all the time, and he's every time he comes to the ring, it's almost every time. I don't remember if he actually did it for that show or not, but but he usually goes around the ring and beats up every young lion that's around the ring. He'll beat up all the young lions, and then he'll get in the ring. Like every single match that he has in New Japan, he beats up all the young lions, and he always jumps his opponent, whether it's a tag team match or not. He jumps him before the bell. This was kind of a different.
I'm sorry, RJ.
Good.
This match, there wasn't anybody around the ring.
Yeah, that's kind of how I remembered it. I didn't think that there was.
Nobody else can get wet.
Yeah, He beats the crap out of anybody that's around. He yanks the guardrails off of the thing, and he smashes them on the young lions, and he just all the time. He just creates chaos and havoc everywhere, and it's amazing. And Suzuki is the freaking man.
Yeah, and it's not like he's some kind of crazy person. He's just a rotten turd.
Right, and he's a legit badass too. Like he's a legit fighter. Like he's a legit shoot fighter. Like he's a legit badass.
Yeah, but as far as his wrestling career, it's just the fact that he's just, okay, I'll get away with one tonight. I've been a good boy. He's a grumpy old bastard. He's just miserable.
Yep,
but he does it well. So
yeah, I started watching the match, and I texted Patrick because I was queuing it up, and I said I would not want to run into this guy in a dark alley.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah.
So
and I responded, yeah, he's on my list of guys I would not want to beat with.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Or no, guys, I would not want to insert goat sound here with. Yeah, dude, just horrible. So next week we are getting into, and I know, Brian, I'll get there. We are getting into the preview for AEW All Out with an amazing main event. World Championship being inaugural World Championship being decided with Jericho facing Hangman Page. We'll talk about a lot of that, and we're also going to talk about next week's homework assignment, which the professor himself is about to give us.
Thank you, good sir. I'll preface this by mentioning something I checked out on the WWE Network the other night. And normally this series is a bunch of fluff. And the series I'm referencing is WWE Photo Shoot. And usually WWE Photo Shoot is just a insert superstar here, and they're looking at pictures of themselves from early on in their career all the way up through the present day, and they're taking a walk down memory lane, and it's nice. I mean,
I enjoy it, but it's nothing special.
right.
Right. Some of them are kind of funny.
Yes. But I watched an episode of Photo Shoot the other night that I found to be oddly compelling because of the backstories that this superstar was sharing behind a lot of the photos. And the superstar that I'm referring to is a gentleman who we don't give a lot of run on this show to. And I'd like to rectify that tonight with our homework for this week. The superstar I'm referring to is the Big Show. He gave a lot of interesting tidbits behind some of the photos that were shared. For example, I did not know how big of a role Macho Man Randy Savage played early on in his career when he was in WCW. They mentioned that they traveled together and they, shared hotel rooms together and whatnot. And he said that Macho was a very important influence on him early on. Same thing with Hulk Hogan. Same thing with, there was a third person that he really. Oh, I mean, he was quick to give credit to Undertaker for everything he did for him. He was quick to give credit to The Rock, etc. He was just a really appreciative person this whole time. So that got me thinking. It's my turn for homework this week. Let's give the people a Big Show match. Now, unfortunately for me, I realized that, there aren't really a lot of Big Show matches that fall into the category of the kinds of matches that I traditionally would be giving out. Because I'm not here
right now that I'll be like, yeah, this would be good to watch.
Right.
So would this one, and so would this one.
Hopefully the one I have for you tonight is one of those, because a lot of the matches that immediately came to mind were kind of clunkers, or they were kind of short, or they involved like 63 other people. And it's been said a lot that because of the kind of athlete Big Show is, you're not going to get 45-minute 5-star mat classics from him because of endurance, because of his size, because of the kinds of his skill set. It's short, quick bursts kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I hope I found one that suits both of you. I'm going to take you back to the year 2015.
Okay, so far, I think you're on my timeline for one of his matches.
The event is Extreme Rules.
I think you're getting one of my matches. Real quick, is this a last man standing match?
This is a last man standing match where if you can't answer the count of 10, you lose the match.
Thank you.
It is Big Show versus Roman Reigns.
Not the match I was thinking of.
Huh?
Not the match I was thinking of.
Yeah, this is when Roman was doing the him versus the Authority angle, and Big Show was being used as some fodder to throw at Roman Reigns to keep him away from the title.
Right. Okay.
So there are no titles in the line in this match. But if you haven't seen this match in a while, I think it's going to surprise you. So I'm going to leave it at that. That is our homework for this week. It's Extreme Rules 2015, Big Show versus Roman Reigns in a last man standing match.
You know what I thought you were going to give us?
What did you think I was going to give you?
Last man standing, Big Show, Alberto Del Rio.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Del Rio's the champ. Del Rio's a face, and either he and Ricardo Rodriguez duct tape Big Show's feet to the bottom rope.
Right.
I thought you were going with that one.
I remember that one too.
That one was one of the ones on my list. I'm like, yeah, I totally would have gone with that match if you told me I had to assign a Big Show match. I also would have gone with the one on SmackDown where him and Lesnar broke the ring. I also would have gone with the one with him and Mark Henry when Big Show won the title and then Daniel Bryan cashed in on him.
Right.
Not critiquing your match at all. I'm just giving you, hey, I said there were 3 matches right off the top of my head that I would have gone with. Those were those 3.
Do you guys want to know what my first instinct was? But then I thought you'd be like, oh, you gave us that match.
I'm afraid to ask. Go ahead.
And I love this match, but Patrick, I know for certain, I think you're on record as saying you can't stand this match. So that's why I didn't do this one.
Gene, I think I know what's coming.
I think I might have the year wrong, but I think it's 2002, No Way Out. The barbed wire steel cage with JBL. That was my first instinct. I think that's a great match.
I would have driven to your house and slapped you.
But then I'm like, it's cheesy though, because yeah, he gets choke slammed through the ring and crawls at the other side, and then you got Big Show with standing on the steps and that kind of stuff. I thought that was a great match.
I would have been happier if you would have given me from WrestleMania 21 Big Show versus Akibono. I would have.
The finish of that cage match was fantastic.
The finish was good, but
the match is not good at all. I don't think the match is good at all. The finish was brilliant.
Oh yeah, because keep in mind that was the point in time where JBL as champ was coming up with just world-class heel ways of keeping
prolonging himself.
Right.
Yeah.
The way JBL was booked as WWE champion was a thing of beauty.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, that's what stopped me from picking that one, was just because the totality of the match itself is not in line with what I normally give out, and I want to swerve when the time is right, and the time is not right yet. So I'm gonna lay back in the weeds and be patient, because the swerve will come. I'm not ready for the swerve to come just yet.
Bro.
Well, I know for a fact because of rotation, I'm up for next week, which is going to be hilarious because I'm going to give you guys next week's homework, and then I'm going to kick it to Vegas. You guys are going to have to do it without me. I warn you, I don't have the match picked out yet, but I am giving you a dumpster fire.
It's been a while since we've had one. Let's go.
I haven't had one, and I want to give you one just for comedy's sake, just so you guys can rip me to shreds when I'm not here.
I'll take that action.
Yeah, man. Actually, no. I will be a part of the week of the show from the show 2 weeks from now. 3 weeks from now, I won't. So, but yeah, I'm still gonna do it next week because I want a dumpster fire. I want to just, oh God, Patrick, what? No. So homework.
I'll go ahead and watch the Kennel from Hell match from WrestleMania 15 right now.
It's gonna be worse than that. I'm gonna find something worse.
Punjabi prison.
I'm gonna find something worse than that. I gotta find something just.
Another unpopular opinion. I don't mind those matches. Yeah, they're terrible, but the novelty, the fact that there's only been 2 of them, it's interesting.
Oh,
We don't need a Punjabi prison theme event.
Ali wasn't even in the first.
I know which one. I know which match you guys are getting next
All
week.
right, all right.
You save it. Don't
Next
say
week-
it now.
Next week we lead with homework
Okay.
Oh.
because I'm waiting. Brian, I know for a fact, has never seen it. RJ probably has, and as soon as I say it, I'm probably gonna have to beep him because he's gonna call me something.
Oh, come on.
It's bad. It is horrible. So homework for next week: 2015 Extreme Rules, Big Show and Roman Reigns. Last man standing. Looking forward to it. Gentlemen, any final thoughts or last words before we get out of here?
Just thank you as always for your support out there in Wrestling with Egos land. You know how to reach us at bcrigo15 on that Twitter, at RJ Eman with 2 N's for RJ, and at Rant Mode On with only 1 N at the end for your boy Patrick. Don't forget about our Google repository, bit.ly/with egos, and you can always contact the show, give us a segment idea, chime in on our GOAT discussion. That's wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. And as always, share on that YouTube action so you can be notified when we drop new content. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Your feedback and your support is what makes us the lean, mean wrestle talking machine that we are, and we appreciate you for that. So I want you all out there to have a great week.
Cool. So for myself, for RJ, for Brian, for Jenny the cat, who you've seen 1.5 million times tonight. Jenny has to be like this show's unofficial mascot because she never walks behind me on the couch that much unless we're doing this son of a gun. And then it's just.
And it was a 20-minute run this time. Like for the first hour plus, we didn't see her, and then all of a sudden, bang, 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 bang. So
Yep.
Yeah,
she's got to get her stuff in.
So she's got to get all of her stuff in, man. She's got to get her 5 moves of doom in.
Arch the tail, ruffle the curtains, jump down to over Patrick's left shoulder. That's 3 moves of doom right there.
Did you know she added a new one today? She actually jumped in front of me.
I did see that. That's nice, like the springboard stunner. That's her springboard stunner.
That is a new one for her. And and for the record, because we're going to do something we've never done before, there's the 5th move.
Oh, licking herself. Nice.
Why not? I got to push the envelope somehow. I'm not scared. Hey, dude, full show. I was a good boy. Yeah, I went with the old Santino celebration. Get off it.
You did.
So as I was trying to do, and then I sidebarred because I have ADOS, attention deficit disorder. My name is Patrick. For my boys Brian and RJ, thank you so much for making Wrestling with Egos a part of your wrestling info for this week. Until next week, that's our story, and we're sticking to it. See you guys.